Hello and welcome to the FTC Mass Comm Alumni and Internship panel. I'm your host, Fernando Gomez. Some FTC students and alumni who have had jobs and internships are with me here today to share their experiences. With me today we have Daniel Garcia, we have McLaughlin, we have Meghan Tinelli, and James Miller. Guys, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
It's a pleasure.
We're honored.
So tell me a little bit about where you guys are working at.
So I'm currently interning with iHeart Media with the Elvis Duran Morning Show. So I am a audio production intern, and basically what that entails is anything audio, that's what I do. So my day-to-day kind of just consists of gathering the best of moments of the show, turning it from maybe a 5-minute discussion into a 24-second highlight, and then sending it out across the country to wherever we have the show. So that's over 120 radio stations that we send it out to every single day. And yeah, just anything really audio is kind of what I get to work with every day.
That's awesome. How about you, Aaron?
So I'm doing a couple things. One of them, I work for Foul Territory. It's a big conglomerate called Make Plays Media, and Foul Territory is their main show. I'm a baseball guy, so I do a lot of editing stuff for them, whether it's editing podcasts, editing elements for their show, and a lot of things we do also is social media, because that's the new big thing. So, you know, a lot of cutting for social media, clips and stuff like that. I'm also with JVC Broadcasting, and I'm doing some promotions work with them. Hopefully, you know, work my way up too.
That's awesome. Meghan?
Yeah, so I am working at the Boulton Center. I've been there for about a year. I just finished up my internship. It's basically a lot of concert production, so I do lighting, audio, I do some photography there. I just got offered a job to do lighting there, or I've been doing lighting. So I've worked with the bands basically. I'm the communication, and between the bands and kind of the technical side. So we kind of plan what they want, what their vision is, make sure they're comfortable, and kind of the artistic, creative side of the technical stuff that goes into a concert.
Sick. James?
Yeah, so last year I was a technical intern for MSG Networks. Basically, I went around and shadowed a bunch of different positions from technical director, graphics, audio, replay, and towards the latter half of that internship, it was more so dialing in and focusing on just what I found to be interesting. So a lot of that was more replay, video, which is the coloring of the cameras, basically, for any TV broadcast, how image looks. And yeah, basically it.
Awesome. So now, for all of you, how did you guys get these jobs or internships? We'll go backwards. We'll start with you, James.
So when I started here at Five Towns, I was aware that they broadcasted volleyball and basketball games. So that was something I was really interested in doing. And it went from just doing camera to technical directing to then directing. And then we obviously started the club here for sports broadcast production. And Aaron here was our lovely analyst. And it was a blast to have him, and not just him, but obviously these other two here on the panel with us. They worked and helped out with the games as well. Doing and putting the work in with that club really gave me the foundation and the connection to our lovely professor, Mike Quick. He has a ton of experience in the industry. And it was because, not just of the work ethic, but because of him, that I was able to apply and get close to MSG Networks. And that kind of was the start of it from there.
So basically, I got the internship through Laura Alberts. She's a professor here. She's kind of the head of the live entertainment media production concentration. So I work really close with her, and kind of the most important thing she wanted when working here was giving students real-world experience and kind of having places for them to go and get the experience. So she's been doing lighting at the Boulton Center, and then she took a bunch of us in, and she's trying to really help us get experience different venues, different concert venues, stuff like that. And she's just really amazing, so she's been helping us out a bunch.
So I have a unique story with this, because it was at a point where I was a little bit like in a lull and didn't really know what I wanted to do and couldn't find myself. But I really just on a whim, I enjoyed the show, that I watched it all the time. And I just one day was like, you know what, I have to go out of my way to make things happen. And I have connections, I know people, but in this specific realm, I joke, but I basically composed a love letter and sent it to the people over there. And I'm like, it was a cover letter, but it was like, I love baseball, I love this, I'm passionate, all of this. I poured my heart and soul into that. And, within 3 days, I got an email back, hey, you seem passionate, we want you on board.
Wow. That is a love letter.
Right? It's a love letter that works.
It's your love.
That's all that matters.
I'm kind of similar with the way that Aaron did his a little bit. It was just about going out of my way and kind of networking. So I kind of have also a unique story with mine. It actually started before I deactivated all my social media accounts. So I haven't been on social media for a year now. But before I did that, I had been following Josh Martinez, who is one of the on-air personalities at Z100. And I had seen that he was doing this panel with another school, and it was kind of open to anybody. It was a virtual thing, just come in, ask questions, and just get to learn from somebody that actually works in this industry. So I joined in, I listened to, it was like an hour-and-a-half panel, asked a question, and after that I just connected with him on Instagram. It was just, I sent him a DM, and I was like, hey, thank you so much for answering my question earlier. It was really insightful, and I hope to be able to go on and do this in the future. And he just said, keep in touch. So I did, and randomly one day when I was working my weekend job, he posted a behind-the-scenes photo, and it was of all the cameras they have there, like we have here at the station. And I was like, I love seeing this behind-the-scenes stuff. Can you share more of this stuff? And he was like, forget that. He's like, pick a day this week, come in, and I'll show you everything in person. So 2 days later, I was on a train to New York City, met with him in person, kind of sat down with him and just told him what I wanted to do, where I was at in school. And he was just like, we're gonna keep in touch. He's like, when I see a position that opens up, he's like, I'm gonna make sure you get it. And a year later, he held his word. It was like on and off communication. Just randomly, he sent me a job posting. It was like, I need you to apply for this. Put me down as a recommendation. And he's like, let's see if we can get you in the building. And from there, I've been working there now for 2 semesters. And I'm forever thankful for Josh, who was able to get my foot in the door there.
That's amazing. So what's something that you guys have learned here at Five Towns that sort of helps you with what you do in your day-to-day?
I have to say, in general, it's just the radio program we have here. Obviously, where I work, it's all radio. And a lot of the tools that I know, I would have went in blind if I didn't know them. I learned a lot of that stuff here, from just simple operation of the boards we have here to a lot of the programs that I use day to day with editing. Even though some of the programs are different, a lot of the techniques I learned here, and I don't know what I would have done going into my internship if I didn't learn a lot of these programs and techniques and just hand-on applications if I didn't learn those things here.
So I think, because a lot of what I do is editing, all the Premiere Pro stuff, we did. I actually sent the message to Holly because, she's great. She checks in periodically. And her first check-in, she's like, oh, I know you started recently. She's like, how is it? I said, I feel like I'm in a lab class. Some of the, there was a lot of, cut this VO, cut this side, cut this full screen, and I'm seeing all the abbreviations. I'm like, probably 50% of these people have no clue what this is, but because I did it all here, I'm like, now I'm in lab 9.
You just right back in there.
Oh yeah. So that's, I think that's the main thing.
Something I think is cool, I think the whole Mass Comm division is just super broad. So I feel like the stuff that you learn, you could use for really any direction you go within the field, which is cool, because at first I wasn't sure where I wanted to go or what I wanted to do. Music is definitely the main thing, my biggest passion and what I wanted to do the whole time. We were just talking about it, Great South Bay, the music festivals that they offered, which is huge, and the networking from that, it's kind of just you go somewhere, you meet someone, they remember you, they invite you somewhere else. It's all intertwined, which is really cool. So working Great South Bay, and I also did Montauk Music Festival, which was really great. So they provided a lot of real world experience, which is all you can ask for.
Yeah.
I gotta say, it's a little similar to what Aaron spoke about. I mean, from freshman year to sometimes even your senior year, you're in the lab with Premiere Pro and just the environment alone. And being in the control room, especially for the basketball games that we've done and covered here, that gave me a really great footprint. Yeah, great photo. It gave me love the haircut there on me. It gave me a really great foundation there to experience what it's like within not just a control room, but a broadcasting truck. Because when you're on site working for a game, It's a lot of in and out, a lot of communication is needed. Again, rundowns and scripts are a huge part of it, especially the pregame, postgame, and sometimes even halftime or intermission reports. Like that, all that is planned out way ahead of time, and it's covered then. And a lot of it is on the fly, like changing sometimes. Sometimes a player doesn't want to talk. Sometimes a mic doesn't work, or a camera's got to go out somewhere else and get faxed at a different position. It's a lot of switch up. So yeah, a lot of it from doing the games here and being inside the lab helped out tremendously with me, as well as being able to know the whole maintenance side of the technology.
All right. So what's something that you guys wish you knew before applying?
I would say there's a lot of people out there. You're always going to feel like there's someone at a bigger college or having a little bit of a closer link to someone in a position of power sometimes than you do. But it's kind of a little cheesy, but it's like being your biggest advocate, having that self-conscious, like, you know your value and you know what you bring to the table. And it's always about putting yourself in a position to be fully prepared, but also being fully honest with someone. If you're going to a position where you may not know exactly how to do it to the full extent that someone else could, it doesn't hurt to always look up to someone and say, how would you go about this? Asking for advice. During my internship, every position that I've had, I've always asked questions. Even if I already knew the answer to, I always asked them because I knew at some point it was going to diverge to a different topic of discussion and that I would benefit from it. You're never going to stop learning, no matter where you are in your position, no matter what field you're in. So that's always something that I've tried to keep going with.
That's good, that's good.
I kind of feel the same way as James. I think asking questions really is important. Obviously, you shouldn't go into any internship or new job being cocky or whatever, but you should really know your worth and your value, and kind of just know your skills and like really get to learn yourself, and everything you offer, what you want to learn. And I think it's kind of important when going into an internship or something that's going to really help your career, do some like self-search, and just really figure out who you are, what you want from this experience, and kind of just really make sure you get the most out of it.
I think, for me, I definitely agree with Meghan and James, but also, I don't think I really understood the importance of networking until I graduated. It's not that people weren't drilling it into my head. I just, and it was, one of those situations where it's like, okay, I applied to a job, but did I do that extra step? Do I have like one of my I feel like I'm like 50 years old. One of my favorite things to do is go on LinkedIn. It's like my number one hobby.
So fun.
This guy right here
and
loves LinkedIn.
So like when I go on there, that's huge for me because it's like, hey, I applied to this job, and now one of my bosses, Claudia at Foul Territory, she went over stuff with me. She's like, don't consider yourself applied to a job until you will go out of your way to try to find that hiring manager on LinkedIn and send them a message, hey, I applied. So I think going out there and building a connection, even if you don't get a job, I applied for a huge media company called John Boy Media. They're big sports and baseball. And I applied to the job. I didn't get it, but I sent a note to the person who hired whoever, and she actually answered me, and she's like, we'll keep your resume on file. Like, that is big right there.
I'd have to kind of bounce off of exactly what Aaron said. It's job applications have changed over time. It's no longer just submit your cover letter, submit your resume, and then hope for a response back. It's kind of now having to do that extra step of going out of your way and networking, meeting people, and especially in our industry is so competitive that if you don't make that face-to-face value with the people you're trying to work with or the people that are hiring for those positions, it makes it so difficult to get into these companies, especially when you're just when you're graduating or when you're a student. So kind of just bouncing off what Aaron said, LinkedIn, like you mentioned, is one of my favorite things to just scroll on in my free time. And it's actually where I've made a lot of connections in this industry. You are not limited to, let's say, hey, you go to an event in New York City, you get to meet people. With LinkedIn, you're not limited to that. With LinkedIn, you can connect with people all over the country, all over the world. And I've gotten to meet so many great people through LinkedIn, other students, people that are actually in this industry. And it is such a valuable resource that I think people need to use when looking for jobs. Because like I said, the job market is changing, the way we apply for jobs is changing. And you can't just get a job anymore from just a simple resume and a cover letter. You need that connection now, you need to network.
You know, as someone who's been applying to jobs, I can say that it's definitely true because I'm still looking for jobs. So let's open it up to some questions from the audience. Anybody got any questions over here? Oh, we got one over here.
This is more towards like Daniel and Aaron, but if Meghan and James has anything they want to add, they can. I'm more interested in the radio side of things for like mass comm, but I'm kind of building like more of a news portfolio. So how do you say you build like a radio portfolio or reach out to people in like radio shows or like any like large like podcasting networks?
So when I first came here, it's actually a really funny story about how I got into radio. So when I came here, all I wanted to do was television. I didn't want to touch radio. I didn't want anything to do with radio. That was until one day my good friend who's in the audience, Jeff Kramer, was like, hey, come on our morning show. Come join Good Morning FTC for one episode and just see what this whole radio thing is about. So after some arguing about it, I was like, fine, I'll do it for one day. And here we are now. I'm now a junior, and you know, I now am on that morning show as many times a week as I possibly can. But I was kind of in a similar position, like what you said, with a huge news portfolio. I had news packages for days. I had anything news like ready to go, and I had nothing radio. Really, all you have to do is just start. I know that starting something new is always difficult, but if that's what you want to do and that's kind of where you want to see yourself, just get involved and start doing it. It's not too late to start, and the sooner you get involved and start getting this stuff done, the more you'll have on your resume. And you're in a good spot too, because you know you still have another 2 years here. So now's the perfect time to do it. My sophomore year is really when I actually fully got involved in radio. So I've been able to do so much in the last year and a half, really, where I've been involved in radio. I know we have our IBS Awards, which I am very grateful to be up for Best On-Air Personality this year. And thank you. Thank you. But you know, it just shows that it's not too late to start. Just make sure you start doing it, get involved wherever you can, get your own show if you can, or just practice on your own. With technology now, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to do it, whether it's here at the school or on your own. So just get involved and start doing it.
I'm going to piggyback and just echo that. You know, I think do whatever you can. And I think, you know, when you do, whether it's a news anchoring session or just a project or a radio thing, you want to know, okay, hey, that's a good one. I'm going to set that aside and store it in a different file or flash drive or something, because that's going to be added to the reel I'm going to send to people. And I think, lastly, the biggest thing is, you know, make yourself uncomfortable. It's a huge thing in just life in general, not just looking for jobs. You know, I think the reason I am doing what I am now, and you know, hopefully work my way up in the future, is that wasn't an easy thing for me to do. You know, me personally, I'm not someone who likes to push people or be persistent, even though you have to be. You have to be. You know, it was I was nervous, and I'm like, I got to do this. So step out of your comfort zone and do as much as you can, man.
Thank you. Any other questions from the audience?
Rough crowd, come on.
Come on.
Who's silent?
No questions?
Am I boring you that much? Oh, okay.
There we go.
Thank you, Jose. Look,
The call out word.
What's going on, guys? What's your guys' favorite moment from your internship, your jobs, or what you guys are currently doing?
You want to go this way?
I don't know.
I'll
start.
I have an answer. No, it just came to my head. So the other week, actually, I worked with Jay and the Americans, and they're a 50s band. There's only one remaining member, but it was just super cool, like talking to them backstage, because Jay and the Americans, which no one would really know unless like you just know this, but they were the first band that met the Beatles when they came to America. And it was just like sitting in a room, even though it was one of the original members, like just sitting in the room with him and like talking to him. Like I was like just imagining all the stuff and all the stories that he's seen. So it's just so cool to think, even though it's the Boulton Center, like it's such cool people that come in, and there's so many different types of people. And you know, I hope to only make my way up and like meet more just, you know, worldwide known artists. But it's just so cool, like, to think about the Beatles, and that's like one of the greatest people in the world, you know?
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. So I would say the coolest experience I've had was my first day. I was working as utility, which is basically I was shadowing utility. So they help set up the announcers table before the game. And this was the Knicks preseason, so this must have been late October-ish for some reason. And I think we were versing the Celtics. It was Knicks versus the Celtics. And I was there with Josh, who was working utility. And we were preparing for the pregame recorded session of the Mike Breen and Walt on the court. And seeing Mike, and it was funny because seeing Mike Breen in person, I was like starstruck a little bit. I was like, wow, like this is the dude, like bang, like this is the guy with the greatest calls in NBA history, possibly. And seeing the players up close is pretty cool, but then it was afterwards when we went back to clean up the equipment basically after the end of the game, and I saw Jason Tatum walk by. And surprise, he's like tall. I don't know, shocker. But just seeing the players up close was just pretty surreal. And ironically enough, like that was probably like one of the last times I ever got to do that. But like it was still a pretty surreal experience.
For me, there are really two cool moments. So in Foul Territory, the main host, because it's a player-run show basically, and a lot of former guys I watched growing up as a kid are on there. But Scott Braun is like the main TV guy. He's a host. He worked for MLB Network for the longest time. And that was, and still is to this day, the channel that's on in my house the most. And when I watched Scott Braun all the time, I knew he was doing this new thing called Foul Territory. Back in 2016, I went to New Jersey, Montclair State University, and I went to a play-by-play sports broadcasting camp. And Scott Braun was there, speaking. And I took a picture with him. I'm like, oh, I see the guy on TV. Now I have his phone number and I talk to him.
That's the craziest part. It's like your idols become people you work with.
And the last thing is, growing up my whole life, I'm a baseball kid, and sometimes it's hard. It's easy for me because I'm at home and nobody can see how hard I'm smiling. But even though I didn't get to directly talk to him, there was a great baseball player named Joey Votto, and when I was a kid, I loved him. And he just recently retired. And one of my jobs is to log into the YouTube channel and pull some clips of nice sound bites so they can post it on Twitter. And I was the only one available to do the clipping that day. So now, he's very exclusive interview. So Ken Rosenthal, who's a reporter, was interviewing him, and I was assigned to pull all those clips. So all these Twitter and Instagram or TikTok clips you see of Joey Votto giving his first post-retirement interview, I'm the one who put all those out there. Wow. And I was like, this guy, I'm watching from my couch. I'm still watching from my couch, but now I'm turning around clips. So it's really surreal. I think you got to live the moment. Also understand it's professional. But thank goodness he wasn't on a Zoom with me because I probably wouldn't be able to contain any energy, anything.
I'm very fortunate because I get to do so many cool things, get to meet so many cool people at my internship. But I have to say that probably my favorite part of my internship is just being on air. There's been a couple times now that I've had the opportunity to actually be on air with the people that I work with, and they're just the most down-to-earth people. The same people they are on the radio are the same people they are off the radio. And it was just a surreal thing for me because I've listened to them growing up for maybe 10 plus years. So going from hearing them on the radio every day on my way to school to now working with them every morning, it is just an unreal experience to have. So getting to be there with them on the radio with so many people listening and tuning in was crazy. My probably favorite time that I've been on the radio with them is when, fun fact about me, for those that don't know, I have never had pizza. I don't eat pizza as a New Yorker.
Another one.
You can have your opinions, that is fine, but it made a great moment on the radio because they brought me on the radio, and Elvis Duran, who runs the show, he was like, "You've never had pizza?" And I was like, "No, I haven't." And he was like, "I will give you $100 right now to eat pizza." And I said no.
Crazy.
Then
Can I get paid to do that?
Then it gets better.
Terrible negotiation skills by your part. Terrible.
Because Scary Jones, who is like basically Elvis's right-hand man when it comes to the morning show, was like, "How about you offer him $500?" So
there we go.
Elvis was like, "Okay, I'll give him $100. You give him the other $400." And I still said no.
That's wow.
I still said no.
So he's teaching you about missed opportunities now.
Literally.
So on national radio, I turned down $500 to try one slice of pizza. And I think they even lowered it to even just being a bite of pizza. And I still turned it down and said no.
So how much would it take?
What happened?
How much would it take?
So what's the number?
Yeah, what's the number?
what's the number?
How much?
Okay, this is the argument that I gave when they offered me this money. I said, I don't know how much money I put on it because I know the disappointment my parents would feel if for the last 20 years I haven't ate pizza and all of a sudden somebody hands me a stack of cash and says eat it and then I do it.
Dan, you realize
give
most
some to your
people
parents.
pay for pizza.
Yeah.
You realize that
People
when
like
I told my
us.
mom this story, my mom was disappointed in me for not taking the money.
Yeah, I think most of us here are
Can I-
disappointed
can
in not taking the money.
Yeah, can I just say, I don't know why you didn't do that, but I will say, I do not envy that part of you, but I was very jealous when you met Barbara from Shark Tank. because
Yes.
that's one of my favorite TV shows.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This guy's met so many famous people.
I get
on the
to
show.
meet a lot of people, and I'm very fortunate to be able to do that. Like Aaron just mentioned, Barbara from Shark Tank, we got to meet her. The list goes on. I don't want to sit here and just list
We
people.
would be here for another hour.
Yeah, I also don't want to do that. It's not about me. We have other amazing panelists here as
And
well.
you,
and,
you don't
you
like
know.
pizza, so I don't want to say that.
All right. So, do you guys have any advice for students, either looking for jobs or internships, or any advice for once they have the job or internship?
Take the $500 you get offered for pizza, especially if it's on national radio. No, but in terms of getting into the internship and just once you're there, networking is key. And we touched on this all earlier before, but really that's what's going to keep you in your position. That's going to get you an offer after you're done with your position. And that's really been a big part of what's allowed me to continue from the summer into the fall now. I mean, it's just, networking is such a big thing, especially in this industry. I'm gonna reiterate that point so much. Go out and network. Even if it's somebody that's not in your department, go out and network. Something that somebody has told me, which sticks with me every single day when I'm in the office, is treat the janitor the same way you would treat the CEO. Everyone should be treated the exact same way when you're in the building because you never know who's gonna be your next opportunity. You never know who's going to be that next stepping stone to getting your next opportunity. And I've been so fortunate in my position that I've been able to meet so many people that I've either grown up listening to or that I know because they've worked in this industry for so long. And most people are so nice, especially if you're a student. Like really leverage that position that you have as a student to sit there and say, hey, I'm a student, I want to be in this position later on in life. Is there any advice you can give for me or any tips you can give me? Most people are so open to helping you out as a student, and if you just go out of your way to network and meet those people, most of them will be more than happy to give you some, even if it's a minute of their time, they're more than willing to give that to you to help you out.
I 110% agree with Dan. Eat pizza, and also
Okay.
also, you have to, like I said before to Tyler, step out of your comfort zone. But to me, I'm an deep emotional person, so I connect it to life. So it's not, all that is 100% true, and I echo that. But I think the biggest thing is go at your own pace. And the thing with me the reason why, I was at war with myself mentally, and the reason why is because I really wanted that instant gratification, and that's just not something that's realistic. And go at your own pace. Budgeting your time and using it effectively is going to get you anywhere you want.
I can say it a million times, but I really think networking is the most important. And really, I think just finding what you're passionate about and just doing what you love, because I feel like this type of school, it's not like a 9-to-5 job. It's like you're doing what you love and you have the ability to be creative and create what you want and work with the type of people you want that are similar to you. And really just communicating with those people and reaching out. And something that I did that I pride myself for is just really branding yourself, with social media, and just creating posts and using hashtags and whatever, and making videos and just reaching out to people on social media, I think really made a difference in the connections I made and networking. Because photography is my main thing. So I think, posting my photos and then just working with the people that were at that festival. So I feel like whatever you want to go for, besides photography, if it's radio or whatever, broadcasting, just reach out to those people that are in the field and kind of showcase your work. And, I feel like whatever you do, just showcase it and just put it out there and just for everyone to see.
I mean, kind of what they're all saying. It's like an echo chamber. Take advantage of your connections and the networking opportunities. I was one of the 140-ish interns when I got my internship at MSG. And pretty much everyone was marketing, finance, HR, you can name any other department in any company, everyone was there. And I was the only I was the one kid that was the creative services, like television. So I had no one else to talk to really. I was the only student basically in that part. Now, some people view that as an advantage because I'm working solely closely with people that are doing the physical job, and it was in that aspect. But there are disadvantages to where I wasn't seeing people face to face my age. I didn't get to connect with them on that level. I was, again, they had, and MSG, they're great. It's a great company because they hold so many opportunities for not just the interns, but for the people that are also employed there to meet and mingle at all these great events they hold monthly. And I did not take advantage of that. I solely focused on working the games and going in and learning something new, which that's how I operated. Looking back on it, I wish I went into the city more because it's an hour and a half train ride for me. So like there was that aspect, but I wish I gave that more of an effort to go in there and to meet and mingle with people that were not just my age, but were within the company at least. Because like Daniel said, the CEO to the janitor always treats someone with respect, or not even that, just connecting with them on some level is profoundly great.
If I could just add on one thing really quickly to that, just something that I think I should have been mentioned, but I didn't. Get involved here because, I mean, I think most of us, as we mentioned, like Aaron said, his job feels like it's a lab class, you know, and that's skills that he learned here. So a lot of the things that you can get involved in here, yes, a lot of it's in the class, but also a lot of it's out of class. And that's something that people need to actually do and get involved in. So instead of going home every day, if you have some free time, you have a free hour, get involved. You know, do something relating to your major, what you want to go into, because I know if I didn't take advantage of a lot of the opportunities I've had on campus here, I don't think I would be where I am now and with as much knowledge as I have in radio. So, you know, just get involved on your college campus, get involved in school, get involved in clubs, organizations, extracurriculars, and really just make the most of what you're paying to be here for.
If I may, if I may,
Go ahead.
100% piggybacking off of what he said. Me and Aaron have spent countless hours here from 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock some nights working on a basketball game here. You know, Meghan has done countless hours of photography, not just for concerts where she works, but also for the plays here and for other stuff here. And same thing with Daniel, the morning shows here. The hours are critical. Putting the work in, putting the time in to do what you want. Yes, of course, luck is going to be needed. The networking, the connections are going to be needed, but really, all that work that you put in on your own time, that's what really will pay off and make the difference for you where you want to get an internship.
Yeah, sometimes I forgot what day it was because I was here so long, but it's worth it at the end.
It is worth it.
It's worth it though.
And any experience is experience too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like you have to just do everything you can. And you do get rewarded. Like people notice and people notice your hard work and the teachers want to help and like other students want to help. So I think even the student connections are important too. Because we're all going to the same place. Like we're all, you know.
Help each other out.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Well, we are pretty much out of time, so I want to go around. Just everyone, just one last thing you want to end on.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
You got one last.
I thought that was my mic drop.
Shout out anything you want.
Come on, Mr. Pizza,
social
let's
media.
go.
One last thing to end on. Look, I know the job market is tough, especially in the media industry. Don't give up. Just keep going, keep pushing, and something's going to work out. I know it takes longer for some people than others, but like I said, I think everyone here has offered such good advice on what you can do if you're not in a position right now to jump right in, and that's okay. Like has been mentioned before too, you have to go at your own pace. So just keep pushing, keep doing what you have to do, get involved, and just build up your resume as much as you can so when you get out there, you just have a nice resume, you can give it to an employer and land yourself somewhere. And good luck with everything, because it's rough out there.
Yeah.
Well, I agree, but you know, be confident and trust in your ability. If you want to do something, will it into existence. I say it like, I'm going to be in the Cooperstown Baseball Hall of Fame. Like, it doesn't matter if I'm a coach, if I'm a front office executive, or if I'm a broadcaster. I'm gonna have a plaque. I'm gonna make it happen. Like, just say those things and will it to happen, and you know, grind and be dedicated.
I mean, this could go for anyone, but I kind of just want to shout out like the women in the industry. I feel like the industry is definitely changing; it's more accepting. But I've had experience too. You know, there's some guys out there still who are just rude, and they just want guys, and they don't see their women's worth as much in the industry, depending on where you are. But I think you really just have to know your worth and be professional, but still know who you are, know what you're capable of. Like, everyone is equal in the industry, and everyone has the same capabilities of what they want to do. So it's really important to know your worth and just stay strong.
I will say that, similar to what Aaron has said before, be comfortable being uncomfortable. Always push yourself going forward. And sometimes when there's not an opportunity for you to get what you want, like Aaron said, the instant gratification, you really have to grind and work for it. And a lot of times it becomes, okay, I can't be that on-air personality, but how can I at least get close to that on-air personality? So sometimes it takes being good at something else, or just knowing another aspect of what you want to do. If Daniel really wants to be an on-air talent, but right now there's an opening, it's okay, how can I get there? Well, they need a camera operator for inside the studio. Boom, I'll get that. Aaron wants to be a broadcast announcer. He can't exactly do that right now. Okay, how about I learn editing for the shows at least and become a producer and then branch out from there. It's all these different things. And not to diverge too much from it, but as Meghan just pointed out with the women, like, opportunities are open to everyone. It's not just, okay, like, this is a male, we all know it's a male-dominated field, but no one should feel discouraged from that aspect.
Yeah.
I've met a ton of women, not just in the building, but also inside the truck, that are phenomenal. There's one girl, woman, her name is Izzy. She is unreal. She not only talks during the production side of it, like building packages on the, those post-game stuff you'll see, like of them going to break, and it's just a whole combination of like highlights from the game that happened. She can build that within 2 minutes, no less. She'll go through a whole game in 2 minutes and just build like a 30-second long package.
That's impressive.
Send it out. And while she's doing that, she's also able to talk to her son on the phone. Like, she's a multitasking genius. I don't know how she does it. But there are so many great people that are in this industry. You just have to take the opportunity to know who they are and get to know them and learn from them.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Thanks again to our lovely guests. And that's all the time that we have for today. So thank you so much. Have a great one.